Hi, Chuck.
Hey, how's it going?
Chuck? How's it going, Chuck?
Oh, you really love to make our lives great.
Hello. Sorry, I had to get coffee. I was struggling this morning.
Okay. I'm just going to say it. Get up 10 minutes earlier.
I didn't know,
I didn't know.
Look, let me explain something to you guys. All of you guys. You too, Adam.
We're listening. We're open.
Do you remember when you took classes in high school?
Yes.
Or when you took classes in college?
Go back to high school. I didn't go to college.
Or whatever. Okay. And they were really, really hard and you got like a D in the class?
Well, no, that's when you cheat, but go ahead.
But that's when you learn the most, right? So you learn the most when you're taking the really, really hard classes. Well, it's taking me longer because this book has been a little bit tougher for me to get through. Okay. So I normally I can read about half a book in an hour and summarize it.
Okay.
This one took me like an hour and 45 to get through 2 chapters today, or 2 of the agreements.
Okay, so I think it's like when you during a workout and you're doing the thing you hate the most, that's what you need the most.
A little bit, but I do see Isabel saying, I love that book. So I know, and there are a lot of people that love it. And I love it too, and I gotta be honest. When it gets to the final chapter, I'm like, why didn't you start with that? Then it all would have made sense, Adam.
Oh, okay.
Start with that.
So I'll remember that when I'm writing my motivational book.
Thank you.
How to show up on time and be successful will be the name of the title.
That's gonna be your book?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we respect and love you. We are here for you, and we are ready to listen and learn.
Right. Okay. So good morning, everybody. Let's see who we got on today. Got a few people.
So many of our favorite people are here.
Sonia's here. Okay. Caitlin's here. Sue. All right. Good. First off, what did you think of business planning? How did you think it all went?
It was great.
Good. I thought it went decent. Did you guys have a decent time? Elizabeth, what did you think? Oh, that's right. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my God, Chuck!
Sorry. Okay.
She had her mama to take care of.
All right. I'm sorry. Don't look at me in that tone of voice.
Okay, do you want to know what I shouldn't say the one thing, but the most poignant thing to me?
Yeah.
Because you have to remember, this is my 8th one, something like that, was you said, why not text your kids every day? And I thought, well, I text my kids every day. I don't.
Right.
Me and my girls text every day. Mm-hmm. So that's going to be what I do. Oh, Elizabeth is laughing at you.
Good.
I did have a lot of, oh, sorry.
Whoa.
I did have a lot of pictures come to me, so.
Good.
That's good.
All right, cool. Well, you got some major feedback there, Elizabeth. So are we ready to roll?
All right, let's do this. The 4
Agreements, a Toltec Book of Wisdom by Don Miguel Ruiz. You know what else was a bummer about this book is when I started out, I had to give the background of what the Toltec stuff.
Yes.
Michael told me last week, and he jogged me pretty good when he's like, had I listened to the beginning of that book last time, he said I would have already tuned out within about 5 minutes from the beginning of that book.
Right.
And that stuck with me. That means that I did not give a good presentation at the beginning of that book. And I went home with it. I was mad at Michael. I took his card. I yelled at it.
Do we need to know that information for the book? For what we need to know?
I think, probably not. But let's talk about the 4 agreements first.
Okay.
The 2 we went over. Okay, remember it started out with domestication of the planet and how we're all just monkeys living in this little system that we're not able to get out of, right? And then from there, it went on to the first agreement, which was be impeccable with your word.
Yeah, words.
You remember that?
Yes.
And the power of words and what you say and all that sort of stuff. So that's the first one.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second one was don't take anything personally. Right? Remember that one?
I do.
That's like,
Oh,
so
this
when
is
somebody's
stuff I all need to hear right now.
pissed off at you or wants to kill you or whatever, then that's basically that one. And the third one is what we're going to talk about today, which is don't make assumptions. And it's really funny because, when I was going through my personal, situations, relationship-wise, divorces, this and that, whatever, this was the number one thing that a counselor will talk to you about, is that when you believe that you are making assumptions about what other people are thinking and what your significant other's thinking, what your friends are thinking, what everyone around you is thinking, and that's part of that trap that they're talking about by being domesticated, is you're so concerned and think you know what everybody's thinking. So, number one. Don't make assumptions. So they say, have you ever got that though, when you think and you swear that somebody feels this way and this is their situation or whatever, and then you talk to them and realize that that's not it at all, but you worked yourself all up and worked yourself all up and worked yourself all up, and just to come to find out that that's not what they were thinking at all?
Yes.
Does that ring a bell? Are you thinking of something specific?
Yes.
Oh.
It's happening right now.
Do you mind sharing?
But it's really hard because I'm like, no, I really think that's what she feels, but she's lying to me because she wants to
Sounds like a kid.
It is.
Okay.
It is.
Okay.
And I'm super upset about it. I'm
Really?
having a really hard, like I want to cry, yeah.
No, nothing can upset you more than your family and
Nope.
your
Nope.
family.
Your family.
Yeah.
Nothing can hurt and dig more. They know how to get you.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is great. This is great.
You know, but so whatever's happening, we take
Mm-hmm.
it personally and then we blame them. But a lot of times we're creating drama for nothing.
Yeah.
We start, and then so not only do you start getting assumptions about what other people are thinking or why they did what they did, but then we start gossiping about it
Yeah.
and talking more and more about it. So we just like create this whole fantasy
Yeah.
land of something that may not be the case.
Yeah.
Because we're afraid to ask for clarification.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Is anybody
and-
else on target with this, or is it just me?
You know, I'll bet you Sonia would agree with this, that assumptions can be, they're almost like the devil, you know?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And no matter what we want to
Assumption.
do,
Go ahead.
stick, you know, oh, this is not working. Excuse me for 1 second.
Here,
Go ahead.
Sonia, go ahead. Tell us what you were thinking about assumptions, besides it makes an ass
Well,
of you and me.
I was just thinking of one of my clients who is not in Coldwell Banker. It's a private client, is making some really bad assumptions about his wife. And so as we started digging into it, he discovered they weren't bad at all, that she was telling him the truth and he was assuming the negative because he was in such a negative place. And it was really causing issues in their marriage. But once we began to get it straightened out and he began to understand that his assumptions weren't always about him and that they could easily be misunderstood. And yeah, it looked strange, but it wasn't what he thought it was. So assumptions can really get you in trouble, even in real estate. How many times do we assume we know what the buyer is thinking or what the seller wants? And when you actually ask them, you're totally off.
Yeah.
So
When you actually ask them.
assumptions are big.
That's the good one, Sonia, when you actually ask them. Because sometimes we only see what we want to see or hear what we want to hear. And, you know, making assumptions in relationships are big problems. Because, you know, they're going to, we feel hurt in a sense that we create these thoughts in our mind that this is what's happening and this is the problem and this is the issue, when it's just often not the case. And it talks about when you get married. Here's an example. And you assume that you and the other person see marriage in the same way, right? So you get married in this fantasy land that you're going to see how
Yeah.
it should look the way I see it look, but then you live together and you find out that it's not true. And then she starts to believe that, you know, get a little bit upset because he's not living up to the expectations that she was expecting marriage would be.
Yeah.
He feels the same, and then come fights, and then come difficulties, and then come misunderstandings, you know. And how
So
could he
true.
do that? He should have known. How could she do that? She should have known. And we just assume everybody else sees the world in the same way we do. And that is really what the book says is the biggest assumption that humans make, is that everyone sees the world the way Jenny sees it. And not everybody sees the world the way Jenny sees it.
No, which is really awful.
Yeah, and no one sees the world the way Adam sees it.
I know.
Thank God.
Oh, tough stuff.
So we,
So much of it comes down to communication. I think that people make it harder because they don't have those hard conversations to begin with. But if they did, they'd save themselves so much time and anguish in the long run.
right, right, and that's true, and that's exactly. Have you read this book, Sarah?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, that's okay. She's taking my punchline.
Oh, dang it.
That's okay. That's no, I
I've
love
had
it.
these problems in my daily life, and what I've found is, you know, sometimes it's hard to have that conversation and be truthful, but when you get it out, you feel better, and you're both on the same page, and you're not assuming, and then you're causing yourself so much stress over nothing half the time, and it can make you sick and cause problems where there didn't need to be a problem to begin with.
Yeah, and it's true. It's true. And basically, it's one of the lines was, "We fear being ourselves because we're afraid we'll be judged too." So it's just really strange. So you're making assumptions based on, you know, these different things, but it just keeps coming back to us being afraid we're going to be judged, us victimized, we're being abused, we're being blamed, you know. But really, the person that you're really rejecting during assumptions is yourself, which it's kind of straight. This is where I started getting a little lost. This is why I struggled with it.
Okay,
which has been a
I'm
little long.
listening. I'm open.
But it makes us overestimate and underestimate ourselves, and even in dating, it says you only see what you want to see.
Oh yeah,
You know,
for
so you're
sure.
making assumptions. Instead of gathering more facts about situations, we just make assumptions instead of continuing to dig. You know, like, and a lot of it talks about relationships. A lot of times people get into these relationships because my love will change this person. And people only change because they want to change. And I thought this was interesting. You'll like this. So, real love is according to the book, real love is accepting other people the way they are and not trying to change them. Trying to change them means, check this out, trying to change them means we don't really like them.
Yeah.
And you have to find someone that you don't have to change at all, and you accept them for exactly the way they are, because they're not going to change. Why are you laughing over there? Huh? So also, that person has to love you the same way. What are you laughing? Matter of fact, whatever it is, keep it to yourself.
I will.
So if they're trying to change you, they may not really love you. So you got to look at it both ways.
No. Or if they don't like you who you are when you're like drinking or something, you're like, hey, you fell in love with me, this girl. How do you not like this girl today? That type of thing.
Oh, that's pretty funny. And he says, we have to be what we are without a false image. Like when you're dating stuff, like be the real you.
Yeah.
Which is what I think Sarah was saying.
Right.
But you really have to be the real you without a false image. And if you do like me, okay, take me. If you don't like me, okay, bye-bye.
Yeah, and that's where the real struggle is.
That's what it says. And then go find someone else.
Yeah.
So you have to, that's just what it says. You have to learn to ask for what you want, which is what she was saying. Right to tell you yes or no.
Okay.
Ask and be clear instead of making assumptions, which here, now it's the good stuff, right?
Okay.
Without making assumptions, your word becomes impeccable. So if you can dig and ask questions and get to it. And I do remember, and I'm even going to say this, and I'm even going to say this about Margaret and Jody back when I first started working with them. We would get an accusation about an agent skating a deal or doing something unethical, and they would get really upset and they'd get worked up, and while we're waiting for that agent to come into the office, they would be just crazy going, I can't believe it, and it's all about the money and this and that. And I would always basically say, like, let's take a minute and see, because that's not characteristic of this person.
You are very, very good at that.
And
you really are.
That's not like them. And then when they do come in, you talk to them, but by the time they get there, they would have themselves so worked up about what kind of a person this was, and then we would get into the situation, they would say, no, you don't understand, A, B, C, and D. And then you go, oh, so this person wasn't just making an evil move to try to have commission breath to steal this deal, but they actually had a reasoning for that. And I remember that assumption because I was surprised that would happen, because you just never jump at a story. And I would say I'm pretty good about that. I always give everybody the benefit of the doubt, because usually people are doing things for a reason, which is kind of what the book is saying, is that they're not just, people aren't just evil and dark. It's just we make assumptions that maybe some people are, but usually there's a situation that caused them to do the action that they did. So relationships will change with everyone, and all problems can be resolved with clear communication, which is something that I think I like. I like a lot, but we have to put it into action. So action will strengthen our will. It kind of nurtures our seeds and establishes a solid foundation for new habits to grow. And when I say actions, I'm talking about actions of digging more, not making assumptions, getting the facts together, bringing it in, having clear clarification, and asking for what you want. And it says that, again, this is where it goes back to the Toltec. You can turn from a black magician into a white magician, which, creates magic happening in your life. So being good, is kind of how the Toltecs see it. There's the black magician in the dark, blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
So that's that one.
I'm catching it.
All right, and then the good stuff's coming. So hang in there, I promise. This last chapter is going to be good. Any other questions on assumptions, Sonia? Like in the coaching world, like what's your opinion of that? I mean, you already kind of clarified with your one client that thought this and assumed this and assumed that about their significant other, only to find out that wasn't the case. Anything else where you see that?
Yeah, what I see, what I just wrote down is we often go into a honeymoon stage, and it's in any relationship when you're wanting it to work out. Even in real estate, we go in with that. We're going to be the best. We're going to do the best for you. We're okay. And we're making assumptions that we're going to be able to communicate well. We're going to be able to understand what each other wants. One's going to take a leadership, one's not, this sort of thing. And in the beginning, it's all okay. And then you get into real life, and you begin to understand that the relationship is based on rules, and each person has their own rules about life. And if you don't understand those rules, and if you don't communicate your rules, that's where the conflict comes in. And it really goes back to what you said, clear communication. So remember, you kind of go to a honeymoon stage, and then you begin to understand what the client's rules or what your relationship, the rules of the other person are, and you can begin to communicate easier. But communication is so important, and assumption is one that will get you in trouble.
I'm remembering back to a coaching call I had with you, Sonia, that I thought was pretty interesting. And it tied in with one of the books you were doing on Monday Motivation at the time. But it talked about how when you first start dating, that's when, like you said, it's the honeymoon and all this sort of stuff. And then the dance begins, right? Once you, like, say you get married or you commit to a relationship or whatever. And then from there, that's when you're stepping on each other's toes. You're going this way, she's going that way. All these different things happen. And then over time, you learn to dance together, understanding each other's rules and boundaries. Does that make sense? And then over your life, you just learn to hopefully dance and dance better.
Yes.
And that's just by understanding. I like that, each other's rules, and and I think you got to figure that out. And that's by clear clarification and talking, communication. Boy, is that key or what?
Yeah.
I mean, when you're stressed out, you can easily just talk to Jeremy, lay it all out on the table, and you don't dance around, right?
Yeah, it's never pretty and fun, ever. But you got to do it.
Right.
Ugh.
Right. So that's assumption. Oh, stop it. All right. So number 4.
Okay.
Always do your best. And it sounds like it's so basic, but this goes for everybody out there on this call in everything that we do. So again, we're trying to break this fog, right? Like the whole purpose of this book is trying to break through the fog by being impeccable with our words, by always doing our best, by making sure that we're kind of hitting all of the agreements at the same time, which is, be impeccable, don't take anything personally, don't make assumptions, and the last one being always do your best. And the always do your best piece is, it talks about how when you wake up in the morning, you're refreshed and you're energized, right? And you're ready to go. Like, you're sharper in the morning than you are at night,
yes.
Right? So I didn't work on my business planning thing at 11 o'clock at night. Because I know it's just going to be junk.
Right.
But at 6 a.m., it's very different, right? So you have to be strong and healthy opposed to sick to do your best, kind of sober compared to being drunk.
Yeah.
And you also have to be aware that your mood changes from moment to moment.
Oof.
And isn't that the truth?
Oof.
I mean, I see you fluctuate all day long. I've seen you hang up the phone. I've seen you look at it and cuss at somebody when you got off. I've seen you smile.
It's true. Yeah.
It's the truth.
It's a roller coaster of emotions.
We have to learn to do our best in any circumstance. And that will help us break the spell and break through the fog. I see you writing something down.
I'm writing down what the 4 agreements are.
Okay, but I'm going to...
Because I want to...
Okay, here's an example.
Okay.
So it was a Buddhist temple. This guy goes to a Buddhist temple and he's talking to, the guy that's running it. And he says, how long do I need to meditate? How long, if I meditate for 4 hours, can I reach, kind of the ultimate level? I don't remember what they call it. I think nirvana, and he says, well, 10 years. And he says, okay, well, how about if I meditate for 8 hours a day? 20 years. And he says, but what do you mean? I should be able to do it faster if I'm meditating for 8 hours a day. And he goes, no. He says, you could do it in 2 hours a day we're not here on this planet to sacrifice. You're here to live and to be happy and to love. So if you can spend a couple hours focusing on just being happy and being at your best and your strongest, then you can do it more quickly. So that's the example he gave. Again,
no.
Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Okay, because I struggled with that.
No, it's like you can't put a time limit on when the nirvana comes. You just have to be, if you always do your best, which always do your best is really all of it. It's just because then you're watching your words, you're being present, so the fog is clearing.
That's exactly what he said in the book.
Well, also, it's kind of like have you ever heard the term too heavenly minded to be any earthly good?
Yes.
I feel like
yeah.
if you spend 8 hours a day meditating, you're not accomplishing anything.
No, you're not being present. You're not within the world.
You need to practice the art form.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I get that. It says, however long it believes to take you to do your best, however long you believe it's going to take you to do your best, you have to live intensely, be productive, be good to yourself, give yourself to your family, give yourself to your community. If you give yourself good more, it'll come faster, the level of nirvana. And that's why I was saying before, always do your best. If you do your best right away, it'll come really fast if you do it in all areas of your life, according to this. Action.
I agree.
The action of doing those things and giving your best makes you feel intensely happy. And I thought it was interesting. Always do your best. What if when you're getting ready for breakfast, and let's say you're making breakfast for the kids, you make the best breakfast ever? What if you do your hair the best you can? What if you know, I was thinking like for myself, like I like the idea of everything you do and everywhere you do, like trying to give it your most. What if for the show we tried to give our best?
Yeah.
What if all, hey.
He feels he is. He
Adam,
feels he is.
Adam, I'm telling you. Oh,
I'm sorry, I just had something in my throat, my bad. My bad.
yeah. Another example was, okay, this is a big one. Going to work. You have something, you have a comment. Go ahead, and then I'll give you the example.
I do, because you have to, okay, this is real, y'all. For Adam, for him he's assuming you are not doing your best because you are not here at the agreed upon time. So for him, he feels like there's no way he is doing his best because he's not respecting our boundaries, type of thing. You, on the other hand, are 100% thinking you're doing your best because you're giving your all to that book so you can give us the all and trying to understand it. And it's not working, people. You got to communicate to each other in a nice way with your words. Be impeccable with your words.
Yep, yeah, it's that for sure.
All right, so here's the example, guys. Here's the example. Going to work. The people that go to work and go to work and consider it a form of suffering, okay? And they cannot wait for Saturday and Sunday. All they do all week is they go to work and they struggle to get through what they're doing just to get to that payday, just to get to that weekend. They're working for the reward. And because they're working for the reward of that paycheck, they resist the work. Okay? They resist the work. And that's why I've never liked anybody calling it work.
Yeah.
I'm going to the office.
Yeah.
You know, I don't like the word work because that assumes you don't like it.
Right.
So according to this, example,
That's good.
working is suffering. And they're going not because they like it, because they feel they have to. Rent, supporting the family, putting food on the table, all those sorts of things. So you're not going to do your best when you take action because you have to. So we have to look at what we do, all of us, and find the pleasure in what we do. Because there is great parts. Whoever's on this call, you better believe there's some pleasure, because guess what? It is Monday at 9:22, and you are sitting on Zoom watching a call about the 4 agreements. That's something to be happy about.
That
your
is
career,
totally.
your life allows you to do that.
Yeah, that's super cool.
So we have to do the best because of the pleasure of doing it. And if we do our best because of the pleasure of doing it, no matter what it may be, it becomes a ritual. So the more we do it, it starts to become more repetitive and we get better at it.
Okay.
Doing your best becomes a ritual. So praying to God, it says, God is life in action. So doing your best, according to this, which I thought was cool, there's some really cool stuff coming up. Praying to God is life in action. So the best way to pay homage is to always do your best. So you will get the rewards by always doing your best at everything that you do. And that's where you can kind of live. Remember how he said, I am God, you're God, all that sort of stuff. By doing your best and by following these agreements, all of a sudden you live your best life and almost a godly, exciting, fun, actionable life. You like that?
I do.
You're getting it. Okay.
No, this is great stuff. You're doing a great job at explaining it.
Well, I was struggling it. So
no, you're doing great because I'm not going to read it. So you're doing great.
And it says one of the biggest things we have to do is we have to let go of the past and live in the moment. And remember the fog is constantly us looking back to our mistakes, to the things that we did that we shouldn't have done. But it says, you're born with the right to be happy. And it's okay to say no when you want to say no, say yes when you want to say yes. Be clear, be open, be honest, and do those things that you want. And if it's going to block you from doing your best, don't do it. And again, it becomes what they call the master of transformation by constantly doing your best, by constantly being impeccable with your word, by constantly doing all those things. You start to, and I love this quote in the book, practice makes the master. So isn't that the truth? Practice makes the master. So Adam could do this in his sleep right now because he's mastered this stuff because of the repetition.
I'm actually sleepwalking right now.
Pretty much. So everything we've learned through repetition. And so anyway, so that's that. Go ahead.
No, that's great.
Okay.
No, everything we learned, you're right.
Okay, so it says, and it talks about like the first connection too, which it jumps around a little bit, but it's kind of, they say it starts with your body, your godliness or your being able to be actionable and all that stuff starts with your body. You have to love your body, you got to feed it, you got to clean it, you got to heal it, you got to take care of it, you got to exercise, because by you taking care of your body, it's your communion with having a stronger ability to take good action and always be your best. Comment?
That's good.
Agreed?
Ouch.
Sonia, feel free to jump in. I know it's like I said, it gets a little philosophical here, and it's going to get even more in a few minutes.
Well, yeah, because this isn't a perfect world, and we all assume we're doing our best, or we're put in a position where we don't have a choice. And that's where it becomes complicated. You say, you were saying you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to go here, you got to do there, you got to look like this, and it just gets overwhelming often. So, yeah, there's a lot here to really dig into and work with, because we're not all perfect, and we're trying to be perfect and trying to be happy. And there's so many outstanding circumstances that affect us, and then our assumptions get in the way. And yeah, it's
Right.
interesting. Sorry,
No.
I didn't want to go on negative.
No, I like it. I like it. So let's look at them again. So be impeccable in your word. Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions. Always do your best. There'll always be obstacles, and there'll always be attempts from the world to come in that fog to sabotage you.
Okay.
And we have to transcend, past those things when they hit us. To always stay happy and always be positive and always do those things. And if you make a mistake, stand up and fix it. And he says, if you break your word and you're not impeccable with your words, stand up, say, okay, I broke my agreement to be impeccable with my words. I'm going to start over again. I took something personally. I'm not going to make any assumptions. I'm always going to do my best. I'm going to keep my attention on today, not the future. So it asked the question in the next chapter, are we really free in America? Are we really free here? And he says no, because we blame the government for things that are happening to us. We blame the leaders of the government. We blame the weather. We blame our parents. We blame religion, and we get married. We do all these different things, and then we say, no, but I want to be free, so I'm going to get divorced, because that'll allow me to be free and free from all these shackles. And then that doesn't work. And so the only real free person in the United States of America, according to the book, is a 2-year-old, maybe a 3-year-old. Because
a
they do
3-year-old
what
has
they
more.
want.
Hell yeah.
They explore the world.
Yeah.
They're not afraid to play. They don't worry about the past. They don't give a shit about tomorrow.
No.
They just go.
And they tell you exactly what they're thinking and how they feel.
Yep, they live in the moment.
Yeah.
And children are not afraid to express what they feel. Now, it's because these 2- and 3-year-olds haven't had it beaten out of them yet by the planet. And they're not afraid to love. They'll run up and give somebody a hug. They'll sit on somebody's lap. They'll put that, you know what I mean? We don't necessarily do that as much as we should. Might be a little weird. But, but they don't have that book of laws, remember? The big judge.
Right.
The victim mentality.
Right.
All those things that we've developed.
That's good.
So the little kid is who we need to look at and say, I want to be that person. But then, unfortunately, the chains of training begins from human to human and generation to
and
generation.
by the time they're 4, it's already ruined.
Yeah, we start to beat it out of them. And then sometimes that still, but inside of each one of us on the call, sometimes that kid still comes out. And sometimes you can find him and feel it. Maybe it could be painting. Maybe it's when you're playing the guitar. Maybe it's, if you look back at the happiest moments of your life, which I thought was interesting, it's when your kid comes out. It's when your little 2-year-old, your 3-year-old, your 4-year-old comes out, and you break through the fog for a brief moment, and that is your happy times.
Are you welling up? I'm welling up. I feel like you're welling up
Me?
too. Yeah.
No,
it's just me?
No, that's you.
Is it just me welling up?
Oh, what's
No?
going on with you?
No, that's so good.
Well,
that's so good.
It's interesting. I mean, so if you look at the happiest times in your life, do you agree, Adam, that you can kind of feel like you're a kid at that particular moment?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Well, look at Adam even agrees. Wow.
It's a good day.
I know. Then the judge says, wait a second, be responsible, do the things you have to do, go to school, earn a living, get back in your cage. And then we're back to not being children. And we've lost our freedom again. So the worst part is that we don't even know we're not free, is what he says. We're trapped in your outfit, judging yourself, how you look. I mean, I put on my shirt this morning, it was a little tight. I'm like, all those things that just like hit us, right? So being aware is the first step,
It's funny because I said I'm like a sausage up in these pants.
Sausage.
I'm gonna bust right out of the casings any second.
See, but maybe we shouldn't worry about that.
Let's just wear sweatpants.
Sweatpants and t-shirts.
I tried to, but Margaret gave me a lot of shit about
Well,
it.
yeah, but you don't even brush your hair.
Yeah, that's true.
That's why he won't go on camera.
It's falling out now, so that's.
Is it really?
I'm kind of
buddy.
happy about it. I'm
That
relieved
your hair's
about
falling
it.
out?
Yeah.
Less to maintain?
Yes.
See, that's happiness. Accepting things.
Bless your heart, honey.
So in the Toltec way, there's no leaders, there's no followers. We all have
Okay.
our own truths. It kind of goes back to like that Socrates, the Republic, where they're just going to wipe out everybody, and we're just going to start with new kids and a few philosophers to raise them and change our whole perspective on the world. I don't know if
Is that what Socrates said?
Yeah, Socrates. All right, too much Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure for you.
I
Okay?
can never say it the right way.
Socrates.
Socrates. Is that really, that was
Yeah.
his philosophy?
Yeah, it says that the only way to actually fix the problems of society is to completely wipe out all of society. Start with a bunch of babies and then just try to have the most elite philosopher souls to raise them to create a whole new world. That's how he says the only way we could do it. So he talks about mastery, a few things mastery, before we get to my favorite chapter.
Okay.
Be aware of who we really are with all the possibilities. That's awareness. So being aware that, that we're in a fog. Be
Okay.
aware. Number 2, transformation. Try to move out of our domestication and try to think about where we are and just understand that we need to be living in an unconditional love type of setup is, where everything, you can see love in a tree. You can see it everywhere if you change your world. And here's where it starts to get strange. He says that every one of us on this call has a parasite attached to our head.
Okay.
And that parasite that is attached to Adam's head is a sickness. And it lives off other beings, it sucks out your energy, and it gives no contribution in return. And the parasite is our belief system. Mm-hmm. And so that it's attached to your head, and it controls you, and it makes sure that you know that you're being judged. Everybody around you is judging you, and that you're a victim. And the real us is over in the corner. So the parasite has control of you.
So good.
And we're sitting over there wondering what the hell is going on. Our real person is just so gone because the parasite has sucked it out of our brain. And the only way to get over it is to declare war on that parasite. And when they talk about shamans in the past, and they were talking about shamans all across North America and Indians and Canada and all the way down, they considered shamans warriors. Mm-hmm. And the shaman, medicine men and all that stuff, you know who I'm talking about, what their whole job was, and he says if you were to look into the kind of lives of the indigenous tribes and all that sort of stuff, they were considered warriors because they were at battle with everyone over trying to remove the parasite from each one of these people. So when you say they're possessed or this or that or whatever, they were trying to clear people's minds by removing that parasite of you being judged or you being a victim or anything so that you can live a life that's more free.
That's good.
So it was kind of like transcending, getting yourself out of the dream of this planet, getting to a place of joy and happiness and all that. So the parasite's blocking our view. Mm-hmm. And there are ways to get rid of it, though.
Okay.
Number 1 is you have to attack each fear one by one. So that's the first way.
Okay.
So every little fear that you might have that's holding you back, and I do believe that every one of us, our real estate success, our financial success, our relationship success, there is things in us that are holding us back from being President of the United States, a billionaire, whatever it may be. Second is to stop feeding the fear at all. Just stop being afraid and start being you, and just be you. Be you, be you, be you, and that's it. And then the third is my favorite piece, which is called Initiation of the Dead.
Okay.
All right? Initiation of the Dead. Initiation of the Dead, they use it in Egypt, they use it in Greece, they use it in India. And it's a kind of a symbolic death where we're going to get rid of all the old agreements,
Okay.
all the things that are holding us back, the past, the domestications, all that stuff, and focus on the new 4. Be aware of the fog and watch out for self-limiting, fear-based beliefs that make you unhappy, and go to war to get back your freedom and be yourself and get rid of these fears and these self-limiting beliefs and get out there and be strong and be you, because that's what people will love.
Yeah.
People will love you being you.
It's true. Be authentic. You're
And the
right.
reason I think people like you, Jenny, is you're probably more realistic than most. Jenny's the first one to say, I'm going to go for a jog and I'm going to get these chubby legs running. Like, you used to say some funny shit that just sticks with me because you're not afraid to be you. You know?
Yeah.
And I think the more you're you, the better.
Death of self is a common theme throughout many religions. I mean, like even Jesus says, you have to pick up your cross and die to yourself daily.
Right.
And it's the death of the old you and the rebirth of.
And that's what this is you're
Okay.
adopting it as a declaration of war to get your freedom back. Going to your core is like going into the desert, is what it was saying. And I'm sure
Okay.
you understand what I'm saying. It's like you
Yeah.
have to go into the desert, like how Jesus went into the desert for 40 days. It doesn't say this, but, and then he came back and he was a different person. He was tempted, he was this, he was that, but he came back a different person after was it 40 days or 40 years?
40 days.
Sorry.
You're right.
Okay, yeah. So it's just going to the core and facing your demons. So you have to break the spell. You remember the girl at the very beginning who stopped singing because her mom told her her voice was ugly? She needs to be saying, I will sing even if I sing badly. And as I'm singing, I'm going to pretend that there's clapping going on from someone else when I am singing, because they're replacing someone who limited their beliefs and said something to them that totally threw their whole life path off. And now they no longer trust their own voice, even though that was their passion. So we have to break from that domestication, because
So
we're kind of
good.
addicted to being who we are. And we're addicted to anger and jealousy and self-pity because that's what we know.
Totally.
So am I getting crazy, Sonia, or are people still following me out there? I mean,
You're
what do you-
getting crazy.
Oh!
I don't like the idea of a parasite on my head.
Well, that's your parasite
It just
talking.
does not.
Oh! Did you hear that, Sonia?
It's-
Adam just said that's your
What?
parasite talking.
That's my inside talking.
That's your parasite talking.
That's my parasite.
It doesn't
talking.
want you
Well,
to become self-aware. It wants to control you.
Preach.
Yeah. Sorry, I just didn't like that analogy at all. I believe that we do have challenges, but I don't believe everybody is full of anger and fear and frustrations. I think there's a lot of happiness out there, and I look for that happiness and I try to build on that
Here's
with
the good
everyone
stuff.
I meet.
Here's the good stuff, Sonia. This book
Yeah.
got you thinking that, and you just made a clarification on how you feel about something. That's the best part about these books. You don't always have to agree. I love
Yeah.
that.
Thank you.
You know what I mean, though? I
Sorry.
mean, I love that. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, so good. You start to challenge it and look at your worldview and say, right, but there's
And I
other
didn't
people
see
that
it
love
as negative at all.
Sonia, can I say something real fast?
I'd love it.
Okay. Sonia, I don't like the idea of a parasite either, but it reminds me of a Joyce Meyer speech I heard or a talk I heard, and she said there's always an angel on one shoulder and a devil on the other shoulder. And, you have to always tell the devil on the devil's side when he's bringing in the fear and all the self-doubt and the, woe is me. You have to tell him to shut up. You have to tell him shut up, and you have to accept the angel side and bring in all the good. And so I think that's how I feel too. It's not a parasite, it's that devil. And I heard Les Brown the other day too, and he said sometimes you have to stand up to yourself and you have to tell yourself shut up when you're hearing all the self-doubt and self-talk, the doubt stuff and the fear. So yeah, you have to stand up to yourself and say, no, I am good. I'm amazing. You shut up.
It's like that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, Michelle. You know that where you all of a sudden you feel it creeping in, and you gotta change it. But I think what he's doing here, Sonia, is I think he's just trying to take it all the way to the extreme, so that to get his point across. But the one thing I will say that you just said, Michelle, is remember when it says go into the desert? What I just read. He said when you go into the desert and you decide to go to battle with these fears or whatever you want to call it, he's referring to it as a parasite or whatever. Those demons that are attacking you during all that time when you're in the desert become the angels when you come out. So you're actually transforming them because you're accepting that I have all those fears and all that stuff. And now when I come out into the world as the new me, I can say this demon, that demon, this demon. But now that I'm more authentic, it turns into an angel. Does that make sense?
It's going to take me a minute.
It's like saying your biggest flaw can become your best asset. You can use those to your advantage if you turn around your perception to those things.
Yeah, I mean, yes, that is exactly what I mean.
Okay.
You're turning your flaw into an asset. So for example, if I would say like maybe you're really really tall, you know what I mean, and you have a problem with that, but then you realize, oh my God, that makes me more visible, or whatever it may be. I think that's what she's saying. Instead of being insecure about something, realizing that's what I am. That's
the
what
gift
makes me
in
what I
it.
am. So that thought turns from a demon to an angel.
Yeah.
So okay. So I consider you're still struggling with this, but
I get it, and I also think they were just like analogies and metaphors, and I don't see it as a negative.
okay, yeah. I mean, it's just like I said, it's all perspective. So,
Yeah, I love that.
So it says that we're addicted to not being good enough and believing you're not intelligent enough or that others are better than you. And I can tell you guys right now, there's no one on this call that's any better than anyone else.
Right.
We all just have a different set of parameters on who we are and what's important to us and what our talents are and all that sort of stuff. And that's the whole point of that, is that not everybody thinks the way you do. And that's a good thing. Thank God they didn't.
Thank God. No, this is beautiful. I love all these different opinions and thoughts. And
So we have to adopt these 4 and then make it repetitive. So the discipline of the warrior, controlling our own behavior. Okay, that's the next section.
okay, just
So if you start out having a really good day, which you might have this morning, when you woke up, the minute you woke up, you might have started out having a good day. Then you got in a huge fight with a family member, significant other, or someone else. And after you fight, you feel drained. And then you go into your day with a new set of emotions and a new way that you're going to carry yourself through the day because you had some form of an argument. So the way you see the world depends on the emotions that you're feeling at that particular time.
Oh.
When I came in, you were not the happy-go-lucky normal person that you are every day because of something that bitch slapped you this morning. Am I right?
Yeah, it's been 24 hours almost, yeah.
It's been 24 hours, okay. So when you're sad, you see the world as sad. When you're happy, you see the world as happy. And he says another way to look at it is every human has an emotional body completely covered with infectious wounds. And because of our society, everyone sees us having these wounds and being damaged or whatever as normal. And the symptoms of this disease that we all have is that we get, and this is where I think somebody gets upset, anger, hate, sadness, envy, betrayal, all these things that we have is like a sickness. When you envy somebody, when you're mad at somebody, when you hate somebody, when somebody betrays you, when you betray someone else. So we have to figure out a way to remove that poison.
Yeah, totally.
And forgive people that have wronged us.
Yeah.
And, it says, trying to live this love way is because we love ourselves, not because they deserve to be forgiven, but forgive them. Whether it's a parent, whether it's a sister, whether it's a friend, remove that victim mentality, and you will only know when you've forgiven someone when you see them and no longer have an emotional reaction. So if you see them and no longer have an emotional reaction, I've moved on. And I'm cool and I've completely forgiven them. If you see them and you're still pissed, you haven't forgiven them.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, just reading what, Don Miguel Ruiz says, Adam.
Yeah.
All right? So our emotions control our behavior, and it's not the human that controls the emotions. How you feel is controlling you. You're not controlling that
Which is
emotion.
awful. Yeah, totally.
So we say things we shouldn't say,
Yes.
we do things we shouldn't
Yes.
say, we don't want to do, and all that.
Yeah.
And kind of the warrior has the awareness, though, to control them. And to control your emotions, not your emotions controlling you. So here we go. Hopefully you guys are still here. My favorite section. The initiation of the dead, embracing the angel of death.
Embrace it. Tough stuff.
That's what I said. The initiation of the dead, embracing the angel of the death.
It's going to be nothing what we think it is.
You're gonna like it.
Everything in this book is completely different than we think it is.
Make death your teacher. This was my favorite part of the whole book.
Like legit death?
Yes. Make death its your teacher.
Like the passing though?
Do you admit that you could die tomorrow?
Oh, I could die today.
I could die tomorrow.
Yeah.
I could die today. Adam could. Michael could. Sonia could. Sheila could. All of us, right? But if you go to the doctor and he were to say you only have 1 week to live, 7 days, then you would go be yourself. It would take that to get you to go be yourself. To not worry about what you're wearing, what your hair looks like, what you say on the phone. You no longer give a shit about what people think about you because you got 1 week to go. And if you did have 1 week to go, you're going to live life to the fullest. You're going to have gratitude for the sun when you wake up in the morning.
Yes, you're just going to spread love. Yeah, totally.
By the way, if you guys are looking for a great Christmas movie, I'm sure you've all seen it, but I love it. It's one of the best Christmas movies I've ever seen. Have you seen The Family Stone?
It's one of my favorite movies.
It is freaking fantastic. The director killed it. The actors were great, but it just has such a great message in it. But The Family Stone is fantastic, isn't it?
And you just cry and
when
you
the mom,
laugh.
like the mom and all that stuff, and that's why when you wake up, you have gratitude for the sun and everything around us. And if you were dying, you would treat people with love. You would tell me how you really feel. You want to say it right now on camera?
I tell you how I really feel every day.
Okay.
Don't I?
Yeah, you do. You do. And you might see someone else and say, I don't want to fight with you. I'm never going to see you again. So I'm sorry.
Like this every day.
Go ahead. What's that?
Oh, no, I was just saying I live my life like this every day. Nothing is ever guaranteed. So I've lived like this since my father passed away at a super young age. I said, you know what, that's it. We don't know how long we have. It's not guaranteed. Why do I care? I'm just going to do what I want, live my life to the fullest, and make a mark.
Sarah, I don't know you very well, but I do see that.
I think you do it.
You know what she does?
Thank you.
She does what she wants.
Yeah, I love it.
And she doesn't really give a shit.
No, it's good.
And
we can all learn.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
So don't give that up. So, but you might, if you were going to die, you wouldn't feel guilty for telling somebody how much you love them.
No.
And I keep thinking back to that, live like you were dying, where you're going to go ride a bull named Fu Manchu and go fishing with your pops and do all that sort of stuff, But even when you're dying during that week, that parasite, I don't get upset, Sonia, but it says that parasite, the book says the parasite will still be there just a little bit.
Oh,
and however, here's what you were saying, Adam. whoever survives the initiation of the dead, knowing that you're going to die tomorrow and then you survive, receives the most wonderful gift in the world, which is the resurrection, a new Jenny.
The freedom, huh?
Yeah, so all of a sudden you think you're going to die and then you make it. You know, and Margaret's told me that by, you know, she's had cancer twice,
Yeah.
several mastectomies. She said she wouldn't give it back because it gave her a new perspective on the planet. You know, and, you know, we have freedom with wisdom, you know, out of innocence, and we're able to break that domestication that way. And, you know, it talks a little bit about, you know, God and here at this point, and it says, everything is his. So even if you die and you come back during the resurrection phase, you realize that everything is his. Your house, your spouse, your children, your car, your money, everything is his, and he can take it away at any time. But while you're here, I'm going to let you use it, is what he's saying. So don't blow it. Use it. If we surrender to the angel of death, we'll be happy forever and ever because the angel of death takes the past away. So anyways, any comments on that? Anybody?
Anyone?
I know I sound like, you know, this is definitely not your typical Monday motivation. You see why I struggled with this? This stuff was tough for me.
I just want to know why Brian Keene is like this.
That's a good question. You know, but
Brian, I need to know.
Brian's always like that, though.
He is? You're right.
He's
I want to
stoically
know what
listening,
this is, my friend.
putting it in his own head. What are you thinking about it, Brian?
I want to know his take. He's got good stuff.
I'm half asleep because I worked graveyard shift last night.
Oh, got it.
Oh, okay.
Maybe that's why he was like that.
Thank you for being here with us. Evidently, there was something he needed to hear this morning because God got you up and got you on the call.
I like the part how you say you take possession out of everything and everything is God's.
Yep.
So like, you know, when I pray, I thank him. I'm basically a manager. I'm supposed to manage all of the possessions that he's, you know, given me. My family, you know, everything.
Yep, I like that. You know,
And
go ahead, Sonia.
I was just going to add that Brian's prior career put him in positions where he never knew if he was going to come home or not. And I think that gives you a new respect, if I'm correct, Brian, on life.
For sure.
Yeah. I know when the gun's at your head, and I'm speaking literally here, it changed my life totally. And I feel that if you live through that daily, it's going to change your life. And you look for that positive, you look for that growth, and you become comfortable with yourself because you're still here for a reason.
Right. That makes sense. So now we're getting to the kind of conclusion, right? So the last little section here is the new dream, heaven on earth. And there is a theory out there, and I don't know, maybe you guys have heard this, but that, of course, you know, there's heaven after, you know, according to the Bible, you know, heaven after or hell and, you know, all those sorts of things. But a lot of people say that, but if you live by the rules of the book, you can have heaven while you're here on earth, which is what it's really about, is if you live your life in a certain way, you know, and you take the lessons from that book, you can live in heaven here if you live a good life and are a good person and follow all the commandments and do all those sorts of things. Well, that's kind of what he's hinting here, is that try to forget everything you've learned and understand that how you act by removing the boundaries and the fears and living, you know, doing the best at everything you do, being impeccable in who you are and in your words, that you can create that heaven on earth. And if you don't do that, if you continue to live in fear and be in your box, that you are living in hell, is what he's saying. So he wants everyone to, you know, there's a whole section in here where this is where he lost me again, but close your eyes, then open them again, and then take a look outside. And watch if you just take a minute to see the beauty in everything that you can see around you. And you'll see it coming from the trees, you'll see it coming from the sky, you'll see it coming from the light bulbs, you'll see it coming from everywhere. So you have to see yourself as living a new life, and a new dream will come alive for you and justify your existence by being who you really are and living without fear and living without being judged by others and learning to forgive and to respect yourself and to respect everyone else and just trying to live through kind of love goggles, in a sense, is how he wraps up the book. And that the world is beautiful and it's wonderful, and if we're loving all the time, you know, Moses called it the promised land in the Bible, Buddha called it nirvana, Jesus called it heaven, and the Toltecs called it a new dream, you know, where when you remove the fog and you stop suffering yourself, even though you're going to be attracted to it because you know it so well, that we don't need to suffer. Like you basically, happiness is a choice to see through the fog and just try to be happy all the time by following these 4 agreements.
Okay.
And that, my dear, is the end of
I dig it. I
So-
do dig it.
So what did you guys think? What do you think of that book? What do you think of that type of material as opposed to like business planning and marketing and all that? Let me pick somebody who we don't normally hear from.
I know.
Who can we pick? Who can we pick? Who can we pick? And I don't know who's actually paying attention or not paying attention. I see that Sherilyn Ocampo is on the call. I don't know that she's going to respond. She might have her kids' sons yelling in the back, whatever. But what do you guys think, or Tom Wysocki, what do you guys think of this type of material as opposed to, Success is Easy or Eat That Frog or, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1?
I think they correlate. I
Yeah.
think this all correlates 100,000,000%, but you didn't ask me.
Should we keep doing books like this?
Well, there's still a lot of people on the call. Give us a thumbs up, negative. What do y'all feel? We got thumb
Back
up,
to
thumb up,
business.
thumb up.
What do you
I
think?
like
Tom?
variety. Variety gives you lots of perspectives. And there's many people with many different personalities and makeups. And so what will work for someone else. And by having variety, it reaches everybody. That's my opinion.
Janie, I have not forgot that Janie thought, what would be fun is she said if we actually had a biography. And she said whether it's Abraham Lincoln or whatever it
Janie
was,
said
is
that.
if we actually took some moments and did some biographies of some lives of some really amazing people. Do you still feel that way, Janie?
Totally. But that's skewed because I read a lot of biographies. Not autobiographies. I read a lot of biographies. I don't know. It's just something I like
No,
to
I like
do.
it too.
But there's amazing people out there that you learn a lot from people with biographies.
Yeah, it is. It is very true. Adam, opinion?
Yeah, I like this stuff. It's good to mix it up. You need some sort of more nebulous spiritual stuff to throw in there,
Okay. Well, I've got some more
I
books.
will say this, though. I
ahead.
was with Sonia all the way for me. But I think other people it definitely spoke to.
That's funny.
I love it.
Isn't that funny, though? Yeah, being with but at the same time, like I said, it's to disagree is also to learn. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, well, I know now I don't view the world that way. I like that. Anybody else before we close on out of here? Jenny, any final comments?
What you just said,
Yes.
it was on some meme today or something of someone I follow, and he's like, it was Shanti of Beachbody. He said, I purposely follow people who don't agree with me so I can try to be more open-minded and understand where they're coming from. And that was like, because I find that very interesting. You're right. Things like this, we get to hear other people's opinions, even though we may not agree. Or I think we all agree. We all just see it said or seen differently. And that's why it's important to do all the different books.
Right. And Sue just said variety's good. Okay, Adam, anything else?
Thank you for being here. People like and share and comment. Rayanne actually asked me at Business Planning, like, how do I like or comment? Like, what do I have to do? Just go to the CBABR Facebook page and find this post and just say, hey, this was a lot of fun, because that boosts our algorithm and you'd be doing all of us a super solid.
Awesome. Thank you. One last thing. We will be doing a makeup business planning for those of you guys that did not make it. We'll set a time today.
Okay.
And we'll let everybody know when that makeup is
Like a
going to be.
makeup-themed business plan? Are we going to be working our contour and our highlights? And
How did you know?
Oh, that would be freaking
No, I just,
fabulous.
I'm just really bummed for the people that didn't get to
I
set out
know.
their family goals and their life goals and their financial goals and, their asset, and all that sort of stuff. So I want to make
it's
sure
important.
that they get another chance. So we'll be hitting you up in the next day or so. Yes?
And what Margaret said, Margaret was brilliant. She said, why do we do this? You don't go on vacation without a plan. You don't just wing it. And this is more important than a vacation.
Agreed.
So you can go on one.
Okay, guys. Well, have a great week. Thank you for tuning in. And we appreciate all of you guys. Have a great week. Yes, sir. Yes. What's that?
Thank you.
You're very welcome,
Thank
guys.
you for our business planning meeting. That meeting was amazing. I had so much fun. I had an absolute blast. So
Awesome.
thank you to you
Thanks,
and
Michelle.
Margaret.
Appreciate all you guys. We will see you soon. And we are out of here. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Adam. Thanks, Jenny.
Bye.
Take care, guys.